Black Conversations is brought to you by Castle Milk Stout. Savor your richness. The opinions expressed within this series are solely of the individuals and do not reflect the opinions and beliefs of the Castle Milk Stout brand. Please be advised, the following program contains views which may be triggering for sensitive viewers.
My name is Lebu Mashile. I play many roles and serve many functions as an actress, as a performer, as a producer, as a presenter, but the one that I'm most proud of and best known for is being a poet.
My name is Maple, and I'm a broadcaster.
My name is Celeste Ntuli. I'm a comedian, actress, presenter.
I'm Kaisa Unfiltered, an unfiltered Xhosa, and I'm a content creator, content curator, and a skit maker.
Anegama umnqobi yazo insizwe edabuka le ntabeni zamaphumulo lapho engidabuka khona untombi zimthandela into emnandi ngoba iyona ehamba phambili. The only Zulu man that matters akusho mina kusho intombi.
What does being black mean to me? It means being me. I don't know anything other than being black.
Being black is a gift, cultural experience that feeds into everything that I do, everything that I am.
Self-awareness, I think if you're black, even if you don't know you're black, the world has a way of telling you that you are.
So for me, it's future and greatness. That's how I resonate with blackness.
Kuchaza la ngisuka khona abantu engihlangana nabo abantu engiphila nabo abamnyama njengami esiphila ngezwi lokuba mnyama ngezwi lokuphusha ngingayibiza nangenkolo futhi ukuthi ukukholelwa ukuthi mina ngimnyama ngiphila ngalendlela ngikhule ngalendlela le so kuhluke kaningi kuyibala kusikompilo.
Ngobi. Angwathuli.
Yeah, ngithule
I saw something on your social media that made me think. I am the only I'm the only Zulu man that matters. So ungibeka up mina lokho.
No, you can matter after me, that's fine. That's fine, anginamona.
I always say let the impact decide. We'll wait. Game on. You know, it's interesting that I saw that because we always speak of blackness and there is this thing of what, are we a monolith or are we different?
We are different, definitely.
And which one is right?
There's no one, that's the thing I was saying. I don't believe no right, no wrong. Because naturally, I believe that as black people, even if we grew up wherever, the culture thing is within us.
I agree. I don't think we don't have the same histories. We don't have the same personal experiences. Rona, South African who've experienced apartheid, even within South Africa. Rona, here in Gauteng, our experience is different to people from KZN. It's different to the black experience in Cape Town, where there was chattel slavery. Yes. It's different to the experience of West Africa. But I do think, Jorge, there are commonalities. There's a soul. There's an essence. There's an energy that you know that is like intangible when you get into a black community, when you hear our music, when you eat our food, no matter where you are, whether you're in Rwanda or whether you're in Brooklyn, you know, yeah. Now I feel like I can be myself here, you know?
Mina, what I've noticed is that we do grade blackness. And if we're going to have an honest conversation about it, we do grade blackness. Oh, yeah. And that's when I started to ngobi ethi I'm the Zulu man that matters. And then ngibuka aesthetic yakho indlela ogqoka ngayo. Bese ngizibuka mina and think to myself, do I lose because ngikhulele lokishini? And I saw ukuthi the minute you move out of ilokishi, kune grade obeka kuyona ngathi you are no longer black enough. And once waqala wahlala kuma-suburb, you are no longer black enough. Wafunda. That's another thing we need to be honest about. Wafunda, wathola degree. You're no longer black enough. So ayabafundile labo. So we do grade each other. I think because as the minute we move, either Makai from a location or from a rural areas, you are moving because of ufunimal. You understand? And that subconsciously says where we are, there's no money.
So the minute you move, I feel like it's not a lack of blackness as much as an acquiring of something new.
Access.
Yes.
Resources.
Exactly.
Exposure.
Exactly. And sometimes I believe in ayiki access. We are the money lasishia code. Because as we move, iShoprite again.
Imali is such when I Celeste ngingangasho ngayihlukanisa ngithi umnotho ukhona. Endaweni mina la ngiphuma khona umnotho
Endaweni zangakithi.
Kodwa kuyakube ukuthi asuboni ukuthi sinawo. Siyafuya sineyinkomo ziningi zingakaya kodwa silazi ibhizinisi.
You've got land.
We've got land ekhaya ke kawo Nkosi. Kodwa manje asazi soyisebenzisa siyenzeni. Size sisuke sihambe siyohlala endlini ezingenagceke nokuba negceke ngoba silandela yona imali. Mase sibuya usubuya usushintshileke usubuya ngale ngasekhaya. Phela ehlweni lomuntu imali iphakethe lingaqinile kuyena uyethusa umuntu onayo uyabona uma ungazenzanga ngcono impilo ikwenze ngcono iyona nje indlaliwa awuzenzanga wena ngcono but impilo nje isuke yakwenza ngcono
mina mnqobe labe ngifuna ukuya khona isendabeni yokuthi our townships those places are not places that were designed for human beings.
No.
They are places ilogishi alinayo decency in terms of ukubeka abantu.
It's a labor camp.
It's a labor camp.
When I first started traveling and started going deep into like Emakaya, and you go to a place like Ulundi, Nongoma, even Tohoyando, and you just look at how beautiful it is. Why would you live here? Where you pick a tree, honale popo, you pick a tree, honale avo, to come to Joburg, to stay in a back room and be hungry. For what?
Black Conversations is brought to you by Castle Milk Stout. Savor your richness. Black Conversations is brought to you by Castle Milk Stout. Savor your richness.
Apart from the ideas that we've been sold, kukhona reality yokuthi the economic driver ya South Africa is Gauteng. Generations of people have been sucked from all over the country into Gauteng to come and make money here.
I grew up in such a suburbs because really it's so silent, it's quiet. And you have a lot of time to think, dream. So most people, we move because of the dream. We're not really moving because we want to stay in Joburg, which is why Toy and Dove and the people and everyone else in Rollers, but seven to get my card.
For me, as a black person who comes from generations of people who've lived in townships, our issues are very different. When somebody dies, we fight over houses.
Yes.
In Emakaya, those issues don't exist. Because you've got land, you build a house. If you want the house, there's space for you to have a house. Us, when a granny dies, when an opa dies, it's hectic.
There's a certain pride that we have for these concentration camps. Mina, I call myself... it is what it is. Let's call it. Yes, but Mina, here's my pride. Mina, when I say I'm the emperor of Umlazi, I am saying, very nice. The emperor of Umlazi. When you figure Umlazi,
it is nice to point the enemy when the enemy is on the outside, but the enemy is within. Hey, I was paying. I need to know where I was Guinea. So
I say that because I want that little kid that's there. That wants to get out. Yes. To let them know ukuthi there's a possibility because ilogishile I create a little mindset yokuthi
you know
what I'm saying? Yes. So it's not a pride yokuthi proud we should not have an emotion attached to those places. We did not create them as black people. We should not be proud of them. We should not be ashamed of being there because they were created for us by the people that oppressed us, right? So for me, when I see that pride and and I'm like, we need a paradigm shift of what it means to be proud of being in that space.
No one speaks about also the trauma of wanting to get out. understanding there's something bigger out there. The trauma within you, because you are surrounded by something that you have to be familiar with, because this is how your life is. But that trauma yobana ufuna out, because you know there's something better out there. It kills you. It kills you, even though you have to have some pride or to appreciate where you are. But it kills to be in that space, knowing that you want out.
Ungenama
options.
Nobody can tell you how they survived living in the hood. You realize that you survived once you get out of it, because a lot of things get normalized, and then you leave that space. And then you think about all of these things. That's when the trauma kicks in on some. That's why I'm hyper vigilant. That's why, I mean, if you said right now somebody's coming to, I'm out.
I think it makes it difficult for people who want to come out. It want to perceive it as ufuna blackness. That's why the problem starts.
Thank you.
Because we are as dreams, as someone who's going to fulfill their purpose in life. What? No, but and the representation. You know, we can fly our flags very high, but at some point you need to be an individual and fulfill your own life.
Bring it back to us, though, Celeste. We are problematic once we leave. Not all of us, but a lot of us are. We start highfalutin.
Oh, yeah.
That's another problem. We start
what?
Highfalutin.
Mamela mina ngibulooting. Yini lesilooting again? Senzeni?
I'm saying ngiyacabanga ngithi awubafowethu salute.
Highfalutin is when you now are walking usuhambela phezulu. You know, where you are now uflonta imali yakho kunezinto sungazenzi, ikhala lakho selibheke phezulu. That actually is a step away from blackness.
Abukho
ubuntu lapho, and we've seen it by the first ones that left the township. They went to live in the suburbs, and then umuntu seyabuya kuwashwa usu akasalithinti yena cause wenza inzipho. You know what I'm saying? And we start seeing ingane zakhona who are cousins, they are coming for a funeral, zifika ngo Saturday, sifike Thursday thini siyasebenza. So we do contribute to that thing.
We don't talk enough about the psychological violence of whiteness.
Yes.
And how Tina, in wanting to grow, aspire to these standards that have been set for us, we also buy into this mentality that's very toxic. You know, Yoguti, I'm here, I'm in my little plot, I'm in my world that's just inside my gate, and anything that happens outside of that, I don't care about it. You know, that mentality is killing. We should never have aspired to that. That also is what breeds depression.
And I think also this speaks then to that blackness. Kutwa, it takes a village, but now we're living in a society that says,
yes.
And it makes it tricky and very difficult for you to intervene or, you know, share information or even advise anyone. I miss the actual freedom of just being, to be quite honest. I miss the actual freedom of just being where I can make noise. That energy is unmatched. That energy is unmatched. When the coexisting is so funny, because next door we'll have a funeral, 3 down houses, 3 down, they have a wedding. The community will accommodate both. No one is going to say noise. The whole there's noise. Shh, that one is boring. This one, you know, my suburbs, neighbor, noise, sleep.
Is our proximity, because when we speak of blackness and then we speak of the things that whiteness have influenced in blackness, is our proximity to whiteness our downfall?
I think so, to a certain degree. It's like, to a certain degree, I would say. Sometimes it does help, but sometimes it kills, because it's like we are being moved from our natural habitat, so to speak. Because like the things that she's talking about, there's no way of knocking to the neighbor, but you know that neighbor exists in. It's just that I feel like we didn't take care of our blackness in a sense of culture, keeping it. You know, some other communities, Chinese and other brown communities, they even when they move with their culture. I would dare say even West African people, to a certain degree, they come here, they move with their culture. They know that we still have some West African people that have lived here, but they've been jolofing because they don't want to remove themselves away from. Tina masifika la after 2 months, as angisakhoni ngeTuesday ngifuna isushi kanjani. Like
Celeste, we spoke to that trauma. We spoke to that trauma, and I always feel ukuthi when we talk about these things, sikhela phezulu lento. We spoke of that trauma of growing up ungenalutho. And it's fresh to a lot of us. And then we are one mina bekuthi mekuqhuma isibhamu. Pa 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 pa. Ngiqhubeka ngibuka iTV ngidle iParish. Angikho moved. Ujantshi wesitimela ubudlula la, all very close to my window. Uthi ujantshi gadla is uzindlu uthi kanje. Bengingasayizwa leyo nto, my brain had shut it off. We had a serial killer. You know, listen to me. You know in the suburbs when they say there's a serial killer, they mean that they're looking for who might be the serial killer. No, we knew that serial killer uhlakulwa muzi, umawakhe, usebenza noma kabani. That's the trauma. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, gyamazi. Nande yothenga isinkwa. That's the serial killer is buying bread. Uzosibulala ebusuku but siyothenga isinkwa manje. That's what we grew up with. And when you grow up with those things, that hyper-vigilant, ngiyabona nikhala ngokuthi banitshotshela amafoni, sasivika i-space case guys, mudlula ngaphansi kwe-bridge, i-space case sami, ngesikoleni, I'm 7, I'm 8. That trauma, when you move from that environment, you want to leave everything about it.
We need those learnings from the hood, but they do leave trauma. And a trauma that no one tries to heal because you believe that you don't have it, until you see yourself as an adult who's tired and who is in the slightest form of pressure, shut down, and you don't know where this is coming from.
Black Conversations is brought to you by Castle Milk Stout. Savor your richness. Black Conversations is brought to you by Castle Milk Stout. Savor your richness.
Yazi into ebeyinkinga mangabe sesimove away ke to your point. Must move away from emalokishini. Mangabe sifika la mamnqobo isukela emakhaya, mangabe fika la eGoli. Sihlangana sima tribes baningi.
Yes.
And sikhule ngendlela ezihlukile. Uyabona leyo nto leyo. Angeke kunzima ukusuka uzothemba kwenye ndawo ngiyazi kona ukuthi wrong lokho engikushoyo. Kodwa ukuthi ngisuke uzothemba kuyakube ngcono einkabini zangakithi njengoba thina njalo iinkabi zangakithi lesicula nazo sihlezi sika nje cause hayi ngoba kuphoqa kodwa usuke wenzela indawo yokukhala ukuthi imnqobi mangabe kubheda uyazi ukhalaphi. Uyabona into le uhluphekile uSilester nawo uhluphekile wasengiyanazi nani sengizongqongqoza kwakhe hayi lento uthi angqongqozwa kwakhe so siyasenzela leyo nto leyo uyabona mangabe sesifika la awukwazi uzosukela uBus John nje ngapha uzongqongqoza uzothini bazothi uya intruder
it's not like tribalism, it's
I was about to get
looking for your own community.
Yebo la ukhulele khona ngoba ingakho angithi uthi khona le point enzo uSilester wathi bani le raise ingane isho ngesingisi le nto le community community that raise a child.
It takes a child to raise it takes a community to raise a child. It takes a village.
A village awusona madoda nasesingisi. So leyo nto leyo ayisho kini kuphela ngithi akukhulunywa ngekini kukhulunywa ngendawo yonke isizwe ukuthi ingane ikhuliswa isizwe uyabona obani obathemba umawukhula uthemba isizwe sakwenu ngoba ngeke sakwelahla ileyo nto mina engikhula nayo ukuthi ngithemba isizwe sakwethu ukuthi ngeke sangelahla angase manje kube nenkinga la ngiyazi ngathi ama phone call ami ukuzinagcwala inqwaba amakhwantam lana eimoto.
But Celeste lento even in mainstream entertainment, have you seen how Zulu people and Xhosa people gravitate towards each other?
I guess that's what I was about to say, Guti. It's sometimes ngiyangifunda ama tweets and social media, more especially something written. It can easily be, misinterpreted as if you were no tribalist.
Yeah.
And it's because here in Doksuke Makai, we kept on saying, what's Eastern Cape? Because we want those similarities. Which show, Gaza, Eastern Cape, Niafana, Nagit, Mok, Krongstad, so figile.
Yes, Krongstad. I understand.
So the thing is, we quickly say, okay, lo muntu fana nam no ama similarities. Because if you notice, Zulu people and Venda people get to understand each other slightly because of that whole thing of saye makaya, so it's a cycle. So it's not about and mostly because here in Joburg, Sotho people, Pedi people, Tswana people, and those people will feel like Nguni people are tribalist. But we share commonalities as a makaya. We're living in where we say community, and that's why our blackness is like that, because we believe, hi. You know, we divide ourselves whilst we're divided. But if we can find commonalities and say, as we travel, vice versa. And I wish on social media that comes across, because people fight a lot on social media more than coming together.
Very efficient.
Oh yeah.
Because uthini manje? Hawu. Mina uyothuka ngofika umnqobi yazo lapha na don't touch anything in I mean like no. Oh man, I can't store it goes. No man. Oh, that's barbaric man, like I can't do that shit.
But yes, you know what a disadvantage is if you've never seen. I mean, like my family, when we were still in the US and everything, coming back to South Africa, experiencing something as simple as slaughtering. It's a huge deal. It's a huge. If you don't know it, if meat is something that you buy in a store. If you've never even seen proper fresh meat, you've never even seen the insides of an animal, the only meat that you know is processed. Even the only vegetables that you know are processed. You don't know what fresh fruit is. You don't know how food grows because you grow up in the city, you grow up in the hood, you grow up with this mentality, the world is my block and the distance to school and back. This idea, wow, I'm connected to nature, I'm connected to land, I'm connected to animals. That there's this constant conversation between life and my family and my heritage and the natural elements around me. What? You can blow a lot of people's minds with that. That's what urbanization destroys that. Slavery destroys that. You know, when you take people away from where they come from and what makes you who you are, that's the thing that dies. You know, how do I believe in myself or in what's possible for me in life if I can't connect to just nature?
Now, the question is, since we can't connect the way we used to connect, are we justified in explaining or defining our blackness the way we can?
If I'm always going to be looking to a standard that has never been interested in empowering me to feel like I'm beautiful, then what's the point? What's the unlearning that we're doing then?
As a content, how do we still have poets that are doing content that you can say it's pro-black or for black people?
We have put that power there. Yoguti, you're not a real global musician until you have a Grammy. It is so unfortunate that we are in this time in terms of social media. And if you appear on TV and if you say something, you use one wrong word, you say something that whatever, and then it is an issue. And what that does is that it limits the kind of debates that we can have.
Black Conversations was brought to you by Castle Milk Stout. Savor your richness.